Top seeds.
Okay, we have Phil Bagley and Brian Staub here. They're one of the top 4 teams in the men's open doubles. They took 4th place last year. And guys, what were the 2 teams that you think are going to be your toughest this year?
Well, you know, Phil and I talk about that all the time. I mean, there's many good teams, and I think as a parent, what occurred yesterday in the 35s, I don't know if you can call a bunch of top teams and tell them that they're going to win, because look at the 35s, almost all the top seeds got beat. But you know, we've played Tim and Billy. Very, very tough matches. I mean, they're extremely good. You know, Steve and Enrique speak for themselves. They had some very good performances, but there's a number of good teams. I'd hate to pick one, and I'd hate to certainly not take somebody serious enough and lose, you know, prior to when we should.
Yeah, there's certainly no guarantees in this tournament at all.
It's not.
Any game plan that you'd like to share with us against these top teams?
I think, you know, I keep hearing people talk about how important it is that people get along and game plans and things like that. And I think that's one thing that, of course, Phil, you might look at it differently. I think Phil and I get along really well. That's one thing we do get along really well. And so we're a team. Our game plan, I think it's not a secret. You got to keep the ball down. You know, that's certainly important. I think we got to be consistent, and I think we do a pretty good job of that. And then as it starts getting up into those the tougher matches, you start playing your Tims and Billies and Enriques and Steves and your Millers. That game plan changes, because you can't just do, you know, average things. You gotta hit a good shot to stay in the point. So keep the ball down. You know, when the ball gets up, certainly try to hit it and stay in it. And when you get a chance to be offensive, be as offensive as you can.
Right, know when to go for the shots, when not to go for too much. Unforced errors are key. You want to keep those at a minimum.
Right. So what would you categorize as your playing style? Hard, soft, control, all around?
I personally think we're all around. What do you think?
I believe so too, all around. But you got to make adjustments there too, because sometimes you've got to go hard, or you feel you need to go hard. Sometimes you got to stay soft. So you got to. I think everyone has to try to have an all-around game to survive in this environment.
And that's worded well. I think you've got to have an all-around game. You have to have the ability to take pace off the ball and to be able to get the ball down, you know, in situations, because it's certainly you can't win just banging, and you can't win just being soft.
Okay. And talking about adjustments, what kind of adjustments do you make to your game while you're playing your opponents?
We discuss the matches prior to, Jeff. We try to talk about what we're going to do, where, you know, what's going to happen, and I think we do a constant job of evaluating what we're doing well and what we're not doing well, and where we're getting hurt. And probably we're not going to change anything that's working for us, that's for sure. But anything that's not working, we're going to make those adjustments, those little adjustments, you know, as soon as we can. You know, either whether it be going at a different person at a different time, or a particular shot at a different time. A third ball, who are you going to hit the third ball to every time? What kind of result you're going to get as a result of that third ball? So it's an ongoing process.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, guys, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Mona Burnett and Lydia Willis. And what 2 teams do you think is going to be your toughest competition this year?
Well, I personally think it'll be Alex and Jennifer. And go ahead, what do you think?
Adina and Heidi.
Yep, those are the ones.
Any game plan that you'd like to share with us when you play against those top 2 teams? What kind of strategies you might be thinking, who you're going to hit to, that type of thing?
I have one thing I could say.
Okay.
Dink, dink, dink. Wait, wait, wait. Kill, kill, kill.
Okay, great. What's your playing style? Hard, soft, control, all around?
I'm more of a control player. I'll probably play soft. I try to set them up and let her bang them. Let her put them away.
Okay, what kind of adjustments do you make to your game while you're playing your competition?
Just communication, and you know, we'll try to keep it and focus on really just keeping hitting the ball in the middle, so we both can play, and just you know, then we decide who has especially the weakest backhand, and we'll just keep going to the backhand and keep working.
Yep.
How do the elements, the weather, the wind, the sun, how does that affect your play?
The wind is probably the biggest factor, I would say, because the ball moves around a lot. So it's really key to have your feet moving and keep your eye on that ball, because it's going to move around.
Especially sometimes you think a lob is out and it's in.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you think you guys are going to do this year?
We're going for the gold.
Gold all the way.
All the way.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, thank you.
Hey, you had to say that.
Okay, now we have Billy Jacobson and Timothy Nelson. And so what two teams do you think are going to be your biggest competition this year?
Well, for me, I'm going to look at it, each match being really tough and to take one match at a time. And I think it'll be a fantastic team. So for me, they're all going to be good.
For me, I'd say that it's probably going to be Phil and Brian, and I'm kind of undecided on the other two, but maybe either like a Levon and Chris, or a Wesley Abelson and Mike Gates.
Okay. Any specific game plan, any strategies that you'd like to share against any of those teams? How you play them, who you hit to, anything like that? All confidential information. if not, that's okay.
Yeah, they're going to try to not make any mistakes, play a clean game.
Yeah, we're really going to be focused on like playing our game, and we feel like if we can play our game, then like the cards will fall in our favor, kind of regardless of what happens on the other side of the net. So we're going to be focused on playing our game, and then if we're not, and we have to make adjustments, we're going to do that kind of in game.
Okay. And so how would you describe your playing style? Hard, soft, control, all around?
I'm more of an all-around player, but I like to think the ball a lot and then wait for it to pop up and then go out.
Okay. Tim?
I'll say he kind of is like a wall to a lot of times. We can kind of just out-dink the people, just kind of keep putting it back. And for me, I would say it's kind of more like a passive-aggressive style, where I like to set up the point slow and then finish fast or slow.
And what kind of adjustments do you make to your game while you're playing your opponents?
Down here playing, maybe somebody playing very hot, then maybe I start going after the other guy more, or maybe I play more aggressive, or maybe have to play more safe. You know, kind of have to adjust what they're doing.
So what was the question?
What kind of adjustments do you make to your game while you're playing your opponent?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really like taking what the opponent is going to give you. That's kind of how we see it. So every single game before the match, we see how we're going to match up against our opponents, who's going to be across from who, where we're going to be standing, and how soft or hard we're going to play. Every game.
Okay. And how do the elements, the weather, things like the wind, the sun, how does that affect your play?
Well, with the wind, you have to just really place the shot, and then against the wind, you have to hit harder and just be ready for the ball coming faster. Or it could be side wind, you have to maybe aim more wide and blow in. And so you have to always be paying attention to the wind, that's for sure.
And for me, I would say that like, well, for both of us, the heat is a huge thing. So we kind of have to like make sure we stay hydrated and just keep our health up throughout the tournament. But I like the wind. I like playing in the wind. Do you like it when it's windy? Yeah. We like it because we feel like we can adjust really well to the conditions.
Good. And how do you think you're going to do this year?
I hope we win it all.
That's right. Yeah.
All right, great. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, we have Chris Miller and Levon Major. And Chris, where are you from?
Seattle.
And Levon, where are you from?
Seattle, Washington.
Okay, and how did you guys do last year at the tournament?
We took third place in men's opens.
Okay, great. And what two teams do you think are going to be your toughest competition this year?
I would say Steve Wong and Enrique Ruiz, which is the team we lost to last year for the bronze medal. And I think Billy Jacobson and Tim Nelson.
Okay, great.
We can't rule out Brian and Phil from Florida. They play tough. I like them.
Okay.
And I'd say Billy and Tim, and then the Florida guys.
Okay.
Definitely.
And any game plan that you'd like to share against those top teams? Any ideas of how you're going to play them? Who you're going to hit to?
It's kind of a
Anything
feel
like that?
thing as the game's going, you know, and just kind of what's working. You know.
Usually Levon tells me where to stand, and then I just do my thing when I can.
We try to look for matchups so we can stay across from certain players that we feel comfortable with, and we'll just kind of use that as a strategy and maybe not necessarily pick on one single player, because I don't really like focusing on just one guy, but kind of moving the ball around, you know, and that kind of opens up better shots for us, I think.
Because when you get to the top 4 teams like we're doing, a lot of them don't have many weaknesses. So, I mean, you got to play perfect ball to get to be on top.
Yep.
Okay, great. And how would you characterize your playing style? You like to hit the ball hard, soft, control, all around?
Kind of an all-around. This guy likes to bang it, so I got to keep him in check. I play a little softer, but I like to play either way, you know. Up tempo, slow it down, whatever it takes, really. And I think that's both of our styles. That's why we mesh so good. So
Yeah, Levon's got a unique style. I am more of a little bit banger, but I've been.
What do you mean unique?
You got a good backhand whip, you know. Okay. It's really good. A lot of people can't contain that. It does it well. And then my dinking's gotten better over the last 3 years, so I wouldn't say I was anywhere near, you know, where I've come to be today. You know, I wasn't even in the top 20, and now maybe I'm worked my way in the top 5 or so. You know.
Yeah, Chris used to be known as a really good singles player, but he's definitely come a long way in the last couple of years as being an outstanding doubles player.
Yeah, and I attribute that to, you know, good partners. I played with Levon, and he's helped me quite a bit. He's been playing the game 30+ years, like myself almost. And Billy,
not quite that long.
And even
I'm only 40.
Yeah.
I didn't start when I was 10, but pretty close. 20 years, I'd say.
I'm a lot older.
And what kind of adjustments do you make to your game while you're out there playing your opponents?
Well, if we see any weaknesses, we'll just keep going to the well.
Exactly.
On certain individuals, you know, stay with what works is always a good game plan.
I don't make adjustments. I make them make it. The other team.
There you go.
There you go.
Well said.
Thank you very much. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Rum and Coke all day.
And how do the elements, things like the wind, the sun, how does that affect your play?
It's always going to affect play, but it works for both sides. You know, so everyone has to make an adjustment. And I don't really feel like someone else has an advantage over, so you know, the other team. You just have to play through it.
I like the sun, so it doesn't bother me as much, and I don't mind it. I just gotta prepare. If I have a hat, I'm good. I can't do glasses when I play usually.
Okay. And lastly, how do you think you guys are going to do this year?
We're gonna win it.
We're going to win it.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Cheers.
Cheers to that too.
Yeah.
Gold medal, baby.
Great. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, we have Adina Jones and Heidi Hancock. And so what two teams do you think is going to be your toughest competition this year?
Oh boy, two teams. I would say teams. Can't really name any names, but you know, two teams that are going to probably you know, mix it up a little bit. So it's kind of unexpected. You know, having unexpected hits. So I would say that can really be a struggle sometimes when you don't know what to expect.
Yep,
Okay.
I agree.
Any game plan that you plan to implement when you play certain teams, like hit to a certain person or hit a certain style or anything like that?
Most definitely, yeah. Sometimes you can find a weak spot with somebody's game, and whoever that person is, you try to strategize and go to that, whatever that weak spot is.
Yeah, I think you just adjust during the game as well. Depends on what's needed at that time.
Okay.
Being able to be.
And how would you characterize your playing style? Hard, soft, control, all around?
I'd like to think that my style is all around. I like to say I can hit hard when needed, I can dink, and I like to be unpredictable.
For me too, yeah. Both dinking and hard, it's fun.
Okay. And what kind of adjustments do you make your game while you're playing your opponents?
Definitely there's some adjustments. Well, if something isn't working, you know, you have this strategy when you first come out on the court, you know, because we strategize a lot, okay, who we're going to hit it to. And then if the adjustments aren't working, then we switch it up, do something different immediately. And you got to catch that quickly, because if you don't, it's too late, and you got to be on top of it.
Yeah.
Great.
Pay attention.
And how do the elements affect the play? Things like weather, sun, how does that come into your play?
Well, I think they can affect your play mentally, because you can get all caught up and get negative on, oh, it's so windy and the sun's in my eyes, but you really can't do that because the elements are out of our control, but we can control our mental game, and obviously we can, you know, look at the windsock and say, okay, the wind's going this way, so, you know, aim in the center because it's going that way. Or
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with everything. For me personally, I'm an indoor player, so the only time I really play outside is here at Nationals. So yeah, the wind is a really big factor. Sun can be a really big factor. I think they're both big factors when you come here, especially coming here in Arizona, it's so windy.
Great. And how do you guys think you're going to do this year?
I think we're going to win.
I think we're going to try to do the best we can. Yeah, I think we're going to do the best we can.
Okay.
And that's going to be good enough.
Great, guys. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we have Jennifer LaCour and Alex Hamner. They actually took first place in the Women's Open last year. And what two teams do you think are going to be your toughest competition this year?
You know, I think it's pretty much whatever team's on the other side of the net.
There you go. You know, the whole tougher team, it always changes, so it's really hard to pick some. I think pretty much they're all tough when you're up at Nationals.
And what's your playing style? Would you characterize it as hard, soft, control, all around? What do you like to do when you're out on the court?
I think everyone would say hard, and we would probably agree because that's really fun. But over time, we've learned to soften the game and have a little bit more shot selection, a little bit more skills set going on there.
Okay. But it's hard with a little bit of all around.
Yeah. Okay.
But you know, it's so fun hitting it hard. I mean, why not?
Okay. And what kind of adjustments do you make to your game while you're out there playing your opponents?
Adjustments. I think we're pretty much always adjusting. I mean, you don't want to keep doing the same thing unless it's just you're blazing through. But and then of course outdoor you have all the elements you're dealing with the wind and sun and stuff. So.
And how do you think those elements affect your game?
Well, I think the wind. Obviously, you know, you oftentimes can hit harder if you're on one side than on the other side, depending which way the wind is blowing. You know, maybe heat for some people that don't have heat where they normally live. We, I think, are okay with the heat and all that stuff. I don't think most of that bothers us. But I could see the indoor people that are primarily indoor, that could maybe have a bigger effect on them.
And I think National the last few years with the wind has been quite challenging for everyone because it can seriously you see the windsock blowing and the ball just takes off.
Okay, great. And how do you think you guys are going to do this year?
As good as we can. Every time we step on the court.
Try to play well.
Yep.
Have fun.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay, we have Steve Wong here. We're missing his partner this year and last year, Enrique Ruiz. They were the first placed Open winners last year in men's doubles. And Steve, what two teams are you think going to give you your toughest competition this year?
I think this year, Florida guys are always a tough competition. Phil Bagley and Brian Staub. I think Tim and Billy will also be another tough team. Okay.
And any game plan that you'd like to share with us when you're playing those tougher teams?
We're just going to go for our regular game. You know, when we're on, we're going to kill it. And it's kind of a blend between the control and power. And we've got a good plan lined up, so hopefully it's effective, just like last year.
Okay, great. And what would you characterize your playing style? You like to hit it hard, soft, control, all around?
Our game is basically kind of like I said before, it's that blend between power and control. Got a lot of tricks up our sleeve. We've been playing together for a long time and we were successful last year in getting the gold. So we hope to do that again and hopefully nobody gets in our way. Okay, great.
And what kind of adjustments do you make to your game while you're playing some of your tougher opponents?
We've got various different strategies, so we'll kind of depend on who's playing well and where the openings are. Just various different tactics that have been proved to be successful in the past, so we'll go for that.
Okay, great. And how do the elements, things like the sun, the wind, how does that affect play here in Arizona?
It's always tricky with the sun and the wind here in Arizona. We're in Buckeye and it's been windy almost every year actually, but the good players can adapt to it, the other players let it bother them, so we're good players and it shouldn't be a problem at all.
Okay, and how do you think you guys are going to do this year?
We hope to repeat again, that's the goal.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Okay, we have Tim Nelson and Billy Jacobson here. They just lost their first match to Brian and Phil. And guys, when you lost that match, thinking back on it, is there anything that you would have done differently?
I think I would have just played more aggressive to contribute. So we're going to chance to play and go after them.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that we probably would have kept it more aggressive though, the whole way through.
Okay. And if you had your choice to play in the finals for first and second, which team would that be?
Phil and
Brian? Okay. All right, great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, we have Steve Wong and Enrique Ruiz. They won all the marbles last year. They took first place in the men's open division. They just had their first loss today to Brian and Phil. Guys, anything you would have done differently in that game if you had to do it again?
We would have won. It's a close match, good fight.
Strategy-wise, hitting it to anybody, doing anything different?
No. There's a couple of little secrets that we can't give away, but one of the things to share, because I know what the objective here is, one of the things that for us that we talked about is identifying who we want to go to, when we want to go to them, and be ready to change it up as needed. And that's something that
we have a new match on court
want
one.
to do differently.
Larry
Find
Krause,
out who's
referee.
playing hot, stay away from
Randall's
that,
Linden, Pat
go
Kane,
elsewhere. But
Scott Lennon,
other than
and
that,
Jim
to
Hackenberg.
answer the question that you asked earlier, who would we want to play?
Payne,
The two guys from Florida.
Linden,
I would
you're
love
on
to see
court
them
one.
again because it'll be a lot of fun, and I know that they'll give us all we can handle, and I think the crowd would enjoy seeing that. So if I had to pick a team, that'd be a great match for us to play against, and maybe if it's meant to be, we'll do it for the gold. That'd be sweet. That's all I got.
All right, great guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, we're here with Billy Jacobson and Timothy Nelson. They just defeated Steve and Enrique, so they will be playing in the gold medal match. So guys, did that match go as planned? Everything else is okay. Okay. So did you make any adjustments while you were playing that game?
Go ahead. Tim tried to go for it out and serve, but it worked out well. I probably 3 or 4 3 points each set, and I made a difference. Good job on his part.
And then once we got on this side, we started really letting Steve's balls go long. He has a tendency to hit a lot of balls long, but people just hit them. And we don't know why, but we stopped hitting them and they just start going out.
Cameraman, please.
So was there anything specifically that you saw during the match that made you make those adjustments?
Yeah, we took some time out and kind of talked it over. First we were thinking like, go to Enrique and then every once in a while go to Steve, but then the plan kind of changed when we saw that Steve was going more wild and just kind of hitting everything out. So we started going to Steve more and letting the balls fly long.
Were there any critical points or momentum changes during the match?
Critical points or momentum changes?
That was a long time out, man. It was like a 6-minute timeout, and I kind of got it close a little bit because at 8-3 at that point serving. Yeah. They kind of made a run, so we're happy to work out.
And then a leaf blower doing the gold medal court, so we had to wait.
So, and did Steve and Enrique play pretty much like you expected them to?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Good luck in your next match. All right, we're here with Phil Bagley and Brian Staub, the 2013 National Men's Open Doubles Champion.
Damn, that sounds good.
They just defeated Billy Jacobson and Timothy Nelson in the finals match. So did that match pretty much go as you guys thought it would?
Yeah, I mean, we talked, we've been talking for months about what we wanted to do, and as you know, we played those guys in the villages in that exhibition, and it was a bloodbath, it was a war. I mean, there was no easy points, and this was very similar, but I think we just got the ability to kind of hone in and not miss balls and kind of put pressure on people.
Yeah, because we got behind on them, and we just kind of stuck to the plan and just stopped missing balls. That's how we got behind. We were making some mistakes. I was, just to start off. I was a little tight, and then Brian just got me to relax a little bit, and we started making less errors.
So you were talking about in that first game where I think you were down like 8-3, and that's the adjustments that you were making. Just
you know, even at 8-3, I've played so much with Phil. He's thinking the same thing I am, and that is let's win this next point. And then we won that next point, and then we made a run there where it was all of a sudden it was 8-3, then it was 9-8 us, and you know we made a run, and it wasn't anything fancy. It was grunt, dirty pickleball. That's exactly what it was. Keep the ball down and move.
And as far as adjustments go, it wasn't really an adjustment. It was just a reminder from Brian to be careful for me not to get that ball in the middle too high, because they'll just come in and crush it away. And so I just had to keep reminding myself of that.
Okay, great. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it. Congratulations again. Okay, we're here today with Jessica Lemire at the 5th U.S. Nationals. And I haven't seen Jessica before in any of the years that I've been here at Nationals, but her skill level was very, very impressive this year. So, Jessica, where are you from?
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay, and how long have you been playing pickleball?
About a year and a half.
All right, and did you play any other racket sports or anything before you started playing pickleball?
Yeah, I grew up playing ping pong and tennis, a little bit of racquetball, probably some volleyball.
Okay, and do you get to play against some pretty good players back in Michigan or surrounding areas when you play?
Yeah, I play with the Hackenbergs. They're doing great in the tournament. My partner Marcia from Toledo. So we're really trying to grow in Grand Rapids and get a little mecca there. So.
Okay, great. So is there anything special that you've done? I mean, is it just kind of just come natural to you since you haven't been playing that long, or anything special that you do to get to the level that you're at right now?
Yeah, I think it's just been my racket sports have helped a lot. Just the tennis help with the reactions, and ping pong a little bit. My volleyball skills probably help a little bit too, but nothing too special. Just like to go out there, have fun, and try not to be too hard on myself and my partner.
All right, thanks a lot, Jessica.
Okay,
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're here now with Wesley Gabrielson, and I've seen Wesley in the Nationals before, and he's always been a really, really good player, but it just seems like in the last year he's gone from a really good player to one of the top male players, and we just wanted to get some insights as to how he's made that jump. So, Wesley, anything special that you've done in the last year to increase your skill level so much?
Well, I think definitely I've played a lot more tournaments than in the past, spent more time on the practice court as well. Just live in the Portland, Oregon area, so I've driven around to Vancouver, Washington, and Portland and played some different people. Definitely has helped, a different variety. But I started doing some drills about 2 or 3 days a week for about the past probably 6 months.
Okay.
It's really helped me improve.
Okay. Any special drills or anything, or just
a lot of dinking drills,
okay,
and kind of transitioning between hitting dinks and hitting a hard ball in doubles, especially.
Okay. All right. So kind of all around, both soft game and hard game, trying to increase those skill levels and everything. Yeah. Okay. You did fantastic this year, Wesley. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thanks.